Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and I'm sad to say that I am without Dale today. He's feeling a little bit under the weather, and the episode we're doing today is an interview, and we've had it scheduled for a couple weeks, and we hated to put the person off, and we really need to get this story out, so we're going ahead and doing it. Dale insisted that I go ahead and do it, so this is what we're doing. But before we get started, I have a couple of Apple podcast reviews that I'd like to go over and read to you guys. The first one is from Alexis Jimenez, and she basically says, "This podcast is one of my favorites of all time. It's the only thing that gets me through the long, boring hours of the workday. I have recommended you guys to all my friends that work with me, and they love it as well. Keep doing what you are doing. Much love, Alexis from Kentucky." Wow. Alexis, thank you very much. We love you. We appreciate you listening and telling all your coworkers and all your friends about us and turning them on to us. We appreciate it a bunch. And we have another one from Danielle Mayo. She says, "I listen to a lot of true crime, and this is my favorite. Makes my commute to work much more enjoyable." Well, Danielle, we appreciate you, and we appreciate that we can make your commute to work a little more enjoyable. And I hate you have to go to work, but I'm glad we can be a part of it, and you can listen to us and tell all your friends and coworkers about us. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and get started on this episode. We want to thank Crystal Harris for recommending this episode. She sent us a Facebook message, and he is from our hometown right here, the guy that we're talking about today, and I had no idea about it, so we really appreciate the recommendation, Crystal. We have Ashley McCraw on the show. She is the daughter of Walter Vernon McCraw, who went missing here in our county, Cleveland County, Shelby, North Carolina. He went missing on July 18th, 2018. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Nice to be here.
Well, we appreciate you telling us your story of your dad. Tell us a little bit about his background, his early life.
Well, he's always had a good, big heart. He'd get his shirt off his back for a stranger. He always made people laugh. He battled a drinking problem from his teenager years up until the day he went missing. But other than that, he was a really good guy.
His name is Walter Vernon McCraw, but he went by Vernon. Is that correct?
Yeah, that or Vern.
Okay, Vernon or Vern. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, everything I read, he was adopted by his uncle or something like that when he was 2 years old.
Yeah, but that's my pawpaw regardless, however anybody looks at it. But that's all I knew, it was my pawpaw. I never knew it was my uncle until I got older.
Yeah.
But there was no difference there, that's for sure. He was definitely his son.
Well, that's awesome. Said he had a pretty good childhood. He loved everything I read. He went fishing a lot, went to the beach and done stuff like that.
Yep.
Had a pretty good childhood.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. The first part before my papa got him, I don't think it was good. His mom and all, it's just a bad family.
Yeah.
But for the time my papa got him, though, he had to have had a good childhood.
Yeah. Where did he go to school, elementary school and high school and all that?
I'm not sure about elementary school, but I know he went to Crest High.
What did he like to do when he was in school? Do you ever hear any tales of stuff he liked to do, while he was in high school? Did he play any sports or anything like that? Or
he played football.
He played for Crest?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Crest had a pretty good team back in those days, about, 84, 85, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. What did he do after high school? Do you know?
He went into the Army. I'm not sure how long he was in the Army, but he was discharged because of alcohol. But after that, I know he worked at PPG and Glazed Components.
Okay.
But it's just all that area. I was with my mom and her family.
Yeah.
But, he was always there. If we needed him or if I wanted to see him, he was always there.
That's cool. Does he have any brothers or sisters? Any siblings?
He has a brother, Tony.
Okay. Is he local? Is he around the area?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's a preacher at Camp Creek.
Uh-huh. At Camp Creek.
Yep.
Okay. What about, I know you're his daughter. Does he have any more children?
He does. He has a son. His name's Adam Geddes. He's in prison right now, though. They were just getting, before Daddy went missing, they were just getting a relationship kindled because he had been raised by another man.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's the spitting image of my daddy.
Really?
Yeah, all the way down to the facial hair.
Wow. That's crazy how that works out like that, isn't it?
It is. And we were friends before we knew we were brother and sister.
Really? So you knew him before you knew he was actually your brother?
Yes. It's funny. We were going to date, but his mom said, hold off. When she got off work, we was all going to talk about that. Then she come home and she showed me a DNA test and she said, you can't date because you're brother and sister.
So, wait a minute. I got something to tell you. Wow. Yeah. Did you not think he looked like your dad at the time? Did you say, hey, it's this?
Not at the time. We weren't I was about 13 and he was 12.
Yeah. Okay. So you've known him for a while then. That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and the more we were together before he went to prison, he is, oh my gosh, it's not, words can't even explain how much he is Vernon made over.
Really?
Yes.
Well, your dad's case came to us through a Facebook suggestion. Somebody messaged us about it, and we got to looking into it, and it's like, why, there's not a lot of coverage on him,
There's not.
And and Dale and I, my co-host, we talked about this, and we've got to do this, and we've got to talk to Ashley and get her story out there on her dad. And I got to look, and I was searching on Facebook and some of the comments, and I think it was your mother that I had actually contacted initially.
Yeah.
And I think I told her, I said, how do you know Vernon McCraw? And she came back with, he's my ex-husband. Let me put you in touch with his daughter, Ashley, our daughter, Ashley. And they went from there. And, you and I have talked a couple or three times since then, and you sent me a lot of information on your dad, what you could find, but there's not a lot out there.
No, there's not. And I don't like how the very first publishing come out in the newspaper. I don't like how it came out. It was a short paragraph that had hardly any information. And I don't know, they acted like that should justify it. But truth be told, every other publish about anybody missing has been a lot more detailed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find anything on him.
And I had called the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office to find out why he wasn't on the missing persons report, and the reply they gave me was it was reported in the city. Well, that still don't justify that. I mean, county's over the city.
This is true.
And he's missing regardless.
Yeah. So let's talk about the day your dad went missing. This was on, his parents last saw him on July the 6th of 2018. Is that right?
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about the day leading up to that. Did your dad, when was the last time you saw him before that day? I'd say about 2 weeks. Yeah. Was he acting okay? I mean, did he have anything different to say than he normally does, or talking about anything different?
Well, not really. But one of my mom's best friends, basically a sister who's known him basically all of her life, who he has always spoke to when she speaks to him, because he thought she was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And she had rolled up and seen him standing outside of City Trends in the hot sun. And she pulled up and rolled down the window and was like, "What's up, Vern?" And said for the first time ever that he just looked at her with a cold blank stare and didn't even respond. So she said she felt awkward, so she just rolled the window back up and drove off. But in all honesty, he was sick. His ammonia levels had to be skyrocketing because his kidneys had already failed. They were already failing. He was, mm-hmm. in the last stage of liver failure. Oh, gosh. The last time, his parents saw him was on July 6, 2018. This when they dropped him off at the Waffle House. This is at 1808 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, North Carolina.
Tell us what they had to say about that day when they dropped him off. Do you know anything?
Well, I know the 3 days before that, he laid in the bed, was so sick that he couldn't even hold his head up. And, they bathed him in the bed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that morning, when they woke up, he was already showered and was about to go out the door. And my grandparents asked him, where are you going? And he said, I got to go to Waffle House in Shelby. I got to meet a girl. Well, Papa said, well, just give me and your mama a minute to get our clothes on and we'll take you. You can't walk there. You've been in bed. You've been bedridden the past 3 days.
So he was obviously feeling better then, right?
Well, I don't know if it was feeling better or if it was a feeling of he kind of sensed the end was coming maybe and didn't want to leave that kind of burden thought on my grandparents maybe.
Yeah. So he was wanting to go to Waffle House.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly.
Okay.
Now that could have been a cover up for himself.
So they took him to the Waffle House and they dropped him off.
Yeah.
What time of day was that? Do you know?
It was early in the morning.
Okay. So what happened after they dropped him off? They just, did they see him go in? They just let him out in the parking lot or?
Well, see, he was known, that's what he was known for. See, a lot of people thought he was homeless because he wandered Shelby like that on foot, but he wasn't homeless. He always had a home, but he chose to be out there. That's where he felt like he needed to be.
Yeah.
And that's where he was comfortable. But truth be told, he always had a home. And the reason why we waited a month to report him missing was because he was known to take off like that. But come the time for his check to come, he was never late on making arrangements and he was never late on getting his money.
Yeah.
So we knew whenever his check come and we hadn't heard nothing that something was up.
Something was going on, yeah.
That supported his next drink.
Yeah. So it was just like a few days later on July the 11th, there was a police officer found him sleeping in the grass. Is that right?
Yeah.
This was, go ahead.
Well, they watched him fall out in McDonald's parking lot and didn't call him any help and let him lay there and watched him get back up and walk off. But they can't remember which way he walked off.
Now, this McDonald's, they found him laying in the grass. It's the one at Shelby High School, right? Out there,
yeah.
Out in front
yeah,
of Shelby
where
High
there's
School.
cameras all around.
Mm-hmm. Did they have any camera footage of him walking off? Did they?
They didn't care to look.
They didn't pull that footage at all?
No.
And
by the time it came out, those cameras to businesses are looped.
Yeah. It's like a 30-day loop or 2-week loop or something like that.
Yeah, so by the time it came out, it didn't exist.
Yeah, just recorded over.
Yeah.
So it said the officer confirmed that Vernon left on foot, and it was later that day someone found his ID. Is that right?
His wallet and his phone. But now they won't tell us who turned it in to the police department.
Really?
Really.
So he had a cell phone, right?
Yeah. And somebody was supposedly supposed to be walking it back to him on Frederick Street within the same time of it being turned in.
Did they check any cell phone pings or any location data on that phone before, after they found it, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But they did give 2 people polygraph tests.
Do you know who they were?
P-Dye is who he goes by. I think his name is Stanley Watkins. And Jonathan Weiss.
Okay. Why did they get a polygraph? Do you know what was their reasoning behind that? They think some foul play was going on, or? Because
they think if foul play was suspected, Jonathan Weiss would be first suspect.
Did he was he an enemy of his? Did they have any kind
he
of?
Was.
They had some conflict.
He previously did time in jail for beating and burning my dad for no reason.
Really?
Yes.
What was the outcome of the polygraph? Do you know?
They both passed. See, P-Dye, he was over my dad's check for a little while. It was like, they were like brothers. I know P-Dye wouldn't have nothing. I mean, he's all the bat for my daddy. Mm-hmm. He loved my dad.
Okay.
And I mean, to the point where if it wouldn't have been for P-Dye keeping my dad from drinking, he would have never had his surgery for his hip replacement because they weren't going to do it because he wouldn't stop drinking. But P-Dye went in there and told the doctor, look, I can promise you I can keep him from drinking if you'll just do the surgery. And he done it. And see, the whole weird circle, P-Dye's girlfriend / baby mama.
Yeah.
She is Jonathan Weiss's baby mama and ex-girlfriend or wife. And to make it even crazier, my dad was about to be marrying her mother.
Really?
Yeah.
So, was he staying with her at any point, or?
No, he stayed. He stayed with P-Dye for a little while, and then P-Dye had fixed some houses up over on that side of town, and put Daddy in one. Well, and regardless, Daddy always had a home at Mama and Papa's.
Of course.
Either way. But see, he worked with P-Dye. He helped him fix people's cars and restore houses and all that. And P-Dye put him in that house to get him off the street, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's good of him to do that. But
yeah.
But they passed the polygraph test. Was anybody else questioned on this? Anybody else he hung out with? Any known friends that he had that you know of?
No, and I feel like there's a few that should have been. There's like Nancy. I don't even think they really talked to Nancy, and she fled the county and went to Rutherford County. And
Nancy is
Jessica's mama, the one that Daddy was supposed to be marrying.
Have you talked to her? Have you got in touch with her or anything?
I got I got told to stay away from her, don't say nothing to her, because I threatened her on Facebook. Because she put on Facebook after he had been missing that he had been found, but then took it off and said never mind, that he was still missing.
That is just weird.
And the Jonathan guy, that's the one that was supposed to be taking Daddy's phone and his wallet back to him.
Yeah. Where is the wallet and phone now? Do you know who has it? Or
if the police don't have it, my grandparents do.
Okay. I just didn't know if they went through it. Was it like a smartphone, or was it just a
it was a flip phone, I do believe.
Yeah. I didn't know if they could go through it and check numbers called, or I'm sure you can text on it.
They probably could have.
Yeah.
They probably could have, but they didn't. It's sad that I had to be the one to cover Shelby on foot myself, and that sometimes by myself. But back in the day when we didn't have cell phones, I could find my dad in Shelby, anywhere in Shelby, in less than 30 minutes.
Really?
Because I met him every Friday, no matter where he was. I didn't have to talk to him to find out where he was. I could find him in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, sound like you and your dad had a pretty good relationship.
We did. We did. He is definitely the parent I'm closest to.
Yeah. What have the police told you? Are they in contact with you any at all on this? Or?
Barely, but they keep switching over investigators on the case. He's done had like 4 different officers. And one of them don't even know much about Shelby. He's from Gastonia. And he told me he didn't have any reason to believe that my dad was missing.
Well, he's obviously missing. Nobody can find him.
That he thinks he took some kind of vacation. I said, let me tell you something. You don't know my dad. He could be skunk drunk and not even say his name or know his name, but he'd walk across town and call me from the hospital's phone. He'd dial my number.
That is a lot of cases like this. People will go missing, and the authorities will just brush it off as, they wanted to leave for a while. They wanted to go away. There's no crime in walking away from your life, but.
Well, that's like some of the officers, they say, well, I knew who your dad was. I put him in the hotel for the weekend, such and such, so he would get off the street drinking and this and that. Well, you might have done that. And I'm pretty sure we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
But that was then, and this is now. And just because he was the town drunk doesn't mean that he wasn't somebody's father or son,
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, he deserves answers, and he deserves to find out what happened to him, where he's at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, he had some health problems.
He did.
I read that he had some, he was a diabetic and some other health problems.
He had his toes, all 10 toes were amputated due to frostbite. And he had 2 full hip replacements.
How long ago was that when he had the frostbite?
Well, let's see, he's been missing now. It's been about 6 years ago.
Okay. Just a few years before he went missing then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was diabetic too, right?
It might have been at the end, but see, Daddy, they didn't really let me in on just how sick he was. I didn't know that he was as sick as he was until after he went missing.
What about some other health issues? You said he had some liver problems.
Liver failure, yeah, from drinking. Yeah. Because he would drink what you're not supposed to drink, like Listerine, rubbing alcohol, hairspray, anything to get his fix.
Yeah, just anything to get the alcohol in him, I guess.
Yep. Because when he woke up every day, he was shaking until he had a drink.
Wow. So he didn't show up to get his Social Security check, which that's something he normally did. He knew when it was coming.
Oh yeah, he never missed a day, and never missed a day on getting it planned out on how he was going to get it the next day.
Yeah. All right. Just a few minutes ago, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, and we made a joke off the air. You saying that your dad might have had a little bit of a effect on that.
Yeah.
Because you said there was something about a song that came on the radio.
Yeah, he used to sing a George Strait, "Carrying Your Love with Me," to me when I was little. And I hadn't heard it in like 13 years. Because I don't listen to country music. It's never on my radio. I mean, but I listen to all kinds of music. But my mom's car at the time that she had that I was driving to work, the radio had never worked in it. And I was getting off work, and I cranked it up, and the radio was blasting, and it was on a country station. And that song come on.
Wow.
So I whipped it out of Bojangles, and I whipped it back into Ingalls because I lost it for a minute. And when that song went off, that radio never worked again.
Wow. Yeah, that was definitely your dad talking to you for sure.
For sure.
We spoke on the phone a couple weeks ago about this. You said he usually slept in the back of a tractor-trailer truck.
Yeah. Now, whenever he was drinking and he was out on that side of town, that Mark Cummins that runs Cummins Furniture, he would let him because he knew he was safe right there.
Yeah.
And so he would let him, and when me and my mom went to talk to Mark, he was spastically checking his trailers out there to make sure he didn't accidentally shut him up on a truck. He checked them like 3 or 4 times, and he wasn't out there. And that he said the last time he had seen him was the night before that he was passed out, let me say that in quotations, on the back of Danny Cody's truck in his parking lot.
There at Cummins Furniture.
Yep.
So what do you think happened to him after that?
Honestly, I don't know, but I feel like there's a possibility that they didn't know how sick he was, and they thought he was the typical drunk burn who was passed out drunk on the back of his truck. But I feel like it's a possibility that he could have passed and they didn't know how sick he was, and possibly did something with him, thinking that the police might say he had something to do with it or something. Yeah.
And now there was a report. There was a body found in Canada. Is that correct? Around Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you know about that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I came across it because I didn't even think to look at the group until a friend of mine said, well, why don't you check these unclaimed persons groups and pages and see, it never hurts to look because we've done everything else we can do.
Yeah.
And so I did. Well, it wasn't even a day that I had been joined in this group And I come across the picture before I even read it. I mean, the hat, the face, the facial hair, and it's a pencil sketch, I guess, because the man was already dead that they found, and he was, decaying or whatever. But I got cold chills all over my body when I seen it. And because my dad's facial hair, it was distinct. I talk about it a lot because you don't see many men with the same kind of facial hair.
Exactly.
It's so thick, like if he don't keep it trimmed, he's gonna have bumps all over his face, and the way his hair grows on his face. My brother's the same way, but just the shape of the eyes, the lips, all the way down to the crooked line on the top lip. Matching.
I saw the photograph. I mean, I saw the photograph of the sketch, and I guess the one thing that gave me cold chills was they sketched him with a Broncos hat.
Exactly.
And there's a photograph of your dad wearing a Broncos hat.
Yeah, because he was a Broncos fan, but he also had Charger hats.
Yeah. But sometimes I think Crest Chargers there they use the Broncos.
It is. Horse. Yeah, it's the same logo.
Yeah. So it could be confused with the Broncos or a Charger horse. Yeah,
because Canada's not going to know about Crest High School.
No. What about the clothing in the pictures? There was some jogging pants, some flip flop type shoes.
I don't know about the flip flops, but I know he had jogging pants like that, and I know for a fact he had a hoodie like that because it was his favorite hoodie.
Yeah, I saw those photographs and I was like, this is a very good possibility. This could be your dad.
Yeah, because and me being on foot and not being able to find him, I'm not going to be able to find him if he's not here.
Exactly.
I know I covered Shelby on foot.
Yeah.
Woods and all.
Yeah, I've read some of your interviews and stuff online, and I mean, you spent days and days just wondering, just exploring Shelby, looking for him.
Day or night, I did.
Yeah. How do you think he would have gotten to Canada, Niagara area?
There's a few ways. Since his ammonia levels were off, he could have been thinking he was crawling in the back of those trucks at Mark Cummins, but really crawled in the back of one of those running trucks right there beside City Trends where they sit.
Yeah.
He could have crawled up there and went to sleep and, just went to his forever sleep. But that's one way, because when I worked at Pilot, there's thousands of trucks that go in and out of Canada to the U.S. daily.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that working at the truck stop. So it would be easy for that to happen because one body weight's not enough to make them, at the weigh station, it's not enough to make them search your truck.
Yeah.
And that's how I figure he got to Canada. But however he got on the truck, it's either that, he crawled up there, and now the guy that he was passed out in the back of his truck, he had just got like a $90,000 something settlement. The only other way I could think of was he paid one of them to take him off.
Have you talked?
And I got to keep every option open because I don't know.
No, you don't know. It just struck me weird as the sketch of your dad and the clothing and the similarities of the facial features and the hat.
Yep.
And then there's a picture of your dad wearing a Broncos Charger hat. That really, I mean, I got cold chills when I saw that.
Yeah, I really think it is a possibility, but I can't get Canada's Crime Stoppers to answer my phone call.
Have you talked to anybody up there?
No, not in Canada. And I even told the new investigator on the case. I even told him about it, and I sent him the screenshots, but he never replied or never responded back to me about it.
That is so weird. That's so crazy. Is there anything else you want to tell us about your dad? Anything we need to know that, we get this out that would help with details, or somebody may know something?
I know somebody has to know something. My dad, he was well known. I mean, even if somebody knew him as the drunk that's standing on the corner.
Yeah.
He was around too many people who've seen him daily to where somebody somewhere has to know something.
Yeah, especially if he was out all day long. I mean, he had lots of acquaintances around, I'm sure.
Oh, he did. He did.
And probably some you don't even know about.
Well, I don't know about that now. We got the same circle of people.
Okay. Well, I'm sure.
I made sure I stayed close where I could always find them.
Yeah. That's just so weird, him just disappear like that.
It is. Because he would have done called me if he was still alive, I tell you that.
Yeah. And especially him not having his wallet and phone now.
Well, he'd still remember my number.
Yeah.
He would find somebody's phone somewhere and he would call me. He would have been done call me. He'd have called me 2 days after nobody seen him.
Yeah. If he had just lost his phone and wallet, he would have called you.
Oh, yeah, he would have still called.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he used to walk across town just to use the hospital phone in the emergency room just to call my number.
Wow.
Even if he couldn't even tell you his name, he was so drunk. He still went and did that and would call. We couldn't understand a word he was trying to say, but you know what? He called.
Exactly. When was the last time you heard from the authorities?
It's been, matter of fact, I can look at my phone right now and tell you.
Okay.
It has been since, and Sergeant Treadway is who's on it. It's been since March the 11th.
Sergeant Treadway at Shelby PD?
Yes.
And it was when?
March the 11th.
Of this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's not that long ago, but still.
And that's when he wanted me to send him the screenshots of that post in Canada. But yeah, he never responded.
Yeah. So you hadn't heard anything from the county deputies or county sheriff's department or anything like that?
Nope. And every time it's the same thing when I do hear from them. We have no leads. We have no new information. We have this. We don't have this.
And I think you told me, too, that you've been put some information in for NamUs.
Yeah.
Who did you talk to with NamUs? Do you remember?
I can't remember her name, but I know it was an older woman, and she was coming from Forest City. And then she talked to me on the phone and got the information that she needed or whatnot. And I remember seeing him on the website. But then now, he's not on there. I still don't understand why the Cleveland County hadn't put him on the missing persons now, even after I called up there and told him how I felt.
Yeah, he needs to be listed.
Yeah.
Until something is verified of what happened to him, where he's at, or something, something happened to him. We need to know. He needs to be on there.
Yeah.
Until it's resolved, until something's done.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
And it just sort of
and for him to be well known too.
Yeah.
And most of the police officers, they went to school with him.
Yeah. I think I saw where Joel Shores had commented on something.
Yeah.
I think he's with the sheriff's department.
He's family on my mom's side.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ashley, we do appreciate you being on the show, and we'll get this put out and hopefully find some answers, girl.
Thanks for reaching out.
All righty. Thanks for being on the show.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
And again, I want to thank Ashley for being on the show. I hope we can get this podcast out and get some answers and find out what happened to her dad. All right, we're going to get out of here. I want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings. And like Dale says, because the next episode could be about you. This is the Crack House Chronicles.